What's good, Memphis State? It's Khalil here with.
Your boy,
He did the same one again.
K-Dot.
Kendall, who are we here to talk about today? I mean, I'm hyped, but at the Kendall, can I do it too?
No, he got the same thing on, y'all. He was trying to be like me.
No. Actually, y'all, this happens more often than y'all think.
Actually,
and it's never ever planned.
ever.
But
It's sad at this point, honestly.
you know what else is speaking of sad, unfortunately, it was a rough weekend for Bama State and Texas.
It was.
Houston, Texas.
It was.
Volleyball team fell to Jackson State in the semifinals.
Why it gotta be Jackson State, bro?
I'm going to be fully unbiased here.
Mm-hmm.
We both understood what happened. That last game of the season was probably the most understanding of the game that I really got, because that was the first time I could tell, okay, we swept this team, but that's a good team that could give us problems based off of the matchup, because they were disciplined defensively.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes people can get caught up in the sweeps and not the actual set. Because if you watch this set by set, every set was pretty close.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, you watch the game, you know what the real is.
Yeah.
Like at any point, that game could have swung in the same way that it did ultimately in the SWAC tournament.
Right.
You know, a couple of those sets were very close. Like, especially the one, because so for those of y'all who don't know, the way that the thing was set up, it was
You gotta be descriptive here, man.
The way that Prairie View was set up, we had the football team playing on the football field, and we had the our volleyball team playing in their arena at the same time. So you could go back and forth very quickly. That's what I did. I watched the second set of the game, and it was one of those things where you knew just one thing could change the complete complexion of the game. It could change all the momentum. It could change everything about it. And ultimately, I think we went down like three or four, something like that. And we just kept trying to come back. Ultimately, we took the lead one time, and then here comes another momentum swing. Volleyball to me, and I'm still learning the game. Khalil's still learning the game, but volleyball to me is one of those games, or it's one of those sports where every single point is important, and momentum can swing just like that.
I wouldn't even say every point. I feel like momentum swings and how you come out of your timeouts is important, because one thing that Coach White did really well the last game that they played against Jackson State was after those timeouts they what I said game?
Yeah, they're called matches.
Bro,
like I said, we still learning, so I mean it's cool, bro.
Games, matches. Y'all know what I mean. I'm sorry to any volleyball fans out there. I really appreciate it.
Hopefully we teaching y'all too. We can learn together.
Yeah. Learning during the Thanksgiving break ain't something I don't put those two together.
I mean, really, you gotta watch the game. You gotta watch the game and ask questions.
When you watch the game, volleyball is definitely one of those games when you watch it, you get a better understanding of it. But all in all, back to my point, Coach White does a really good job at making adjustments.
100%.
And I didn't get an opportunity to watch the game because of the fact that I was at the football game. You got to go over. I think what really kind of hurt was the fact that you had just played them so close to the end of the season. And it's like, okay, we know now we gave them confidence. Okay, we can play with y'all now. Y'all on a 16, 15, 17 game win streak. But okay, we can y'all not world beaters.
What did I say? I think they were in the first set. What did I say when we were still on the football field? I said it is so tough. My dad told me this before. It's so tough to beat a team 3 times in a row. Right. For a team that went 16-0, and was literally carrying the SWAC. Right. I think we kind of reached that team where it was like, yo, y'all know us. We know y'all know us. Mm-hmm. That's a tough team to beat. And ultimately, as much as I wish we would have won that game or we would have won that match, ultimately, I think you got to give kudos to Jackson State. You have to.
It's a well-coached team.
100%. I mean, we'll get into that kind of later on this show. But yeah, it was just one of those games, man. It was one of those matches where you could not take anything away from Jackson State when it came to those, especially those final points down the stretch. We fought hard, but ultimately couldn't get it done in the end.
Yeah, I mean, one great thing is they didn't give up at all. Every set was close.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions I always have wondered, and I think that I heard one of our fellow friends, Ashton McCullough, bring this up, is what's the most important set? And I'm asking this to the fans, and Kendall, I mean, you can answer it, but I'm not sure that you know either necessarily or what it feels like in volleyball. You know, obviously you can win the first set,
mm-hmm.
but winning the first set still feels like 0-0 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just 1-0.
Because I mean, it can swing just like that. Like I mean, if you go up 1-0, it could easily be 1-1 in a blink of an eye. So
right.
I mean,
so I feel like the second set is the most important to me personally.
Absolutely.
Because that's where you got we're giving ourselves a little bit of grace.
Mm-hmm.
All we gotta do is finish this off. But I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Jackson State was just a really, you know how you face those teams that no matter how good you are, you just have you have your kryptonite. Somebody's just a good matchup for you.
I think, yeah, exactly. Like you said, they were a great matchup. I think both teams matched up with each other so well that literally it came down to like, all right, who's gonna make this point? How is this blocker set up? Right. All of those type of things. I'm not gonna try to break down the game of volleyball like I would a football game or a basketball game, but all of those positions played a part, and it was like you make one mistake, we're capitalizing off of that mistake.
Right.
And I think we just make one mistake. Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
And sure. Senior led, you know, having those upperclassmen who've played in these big games before, it definitely helps. Having Madison Beasley, Temperance Chapman, Jada Rose, Logan Horn, all of them, and having this experience and playing in a tournament and knowing what it takes to not only get there, but what it takes to get to the hump. Because they if I'm not mistaken, they were in this SWAC championship last year, correct?
It was either last year or the year before, because I know they played.
I think they played FAMU.
Yeah.
If they played FAMU, I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But either way, it was going to. I feel like facing FAMU in their semifinals would have been an easier matchup because you're not playing them. You haven't played them as a recent.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, playing Jackson State in such close proximity
within a week, less than a week, matter of fact, because they played that Friday, correct? No, that last Sunday, and then they played again that Saturday. So it was a little bit, just a little under the week, but you know, it's a tough matchup. But let's talk about the season review. Let's talk about how we feel about how the season went. How would you? Obviously, the goal is to win the SWAC championship, correct? Your goal is to win the championship. But I personally don't feel like this was a failure of a season. It was still a great season.
I mean, bro, to me, it was one of those. It definitely wasn't a failure. I mean, you went undefeated in the regular season.
You were the regular season SWAC champions.
What you won? I think it's 17 straight, including the first
tournament game.
Tournament, yeah. So I mean, I look at that and I say, you know, that would be my only knock is that you didn't win a chip. And if that's your only knock, what? If we're grading it, maybe A-.
Yeah. Because I also would have liked them to see them at least if it like losing in the SWAC championship. You know what I'm saying? That's probably my only knock necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think, and that's what they wanted. I mean, I don't think you ever, as a coach or a player, I don't think you ever go into a season saying, "All right, I want to be the best team in the regular season, and winning the chip doesn't matter." I think that's ultimately why they do what they do.
And knowing what we know about Coach White, because they had a successful season last year as well. They won a long winning streak in the conference play. I don't think that she would even, knowing how she is competitively in the way that she's made up as a coach, I don't think that she would even consider it not a bad season, but she wouldn't consider it a success, or she's not satisfied with how this season went.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, especially when you reach that level of dominance, I think that you always want to go to the furthest extent.
Right.
So even if they would have won the championship, we won the championship, but
my phone is on D&D, bro.
So you just Mr. Popular. You just missed the popular.
That's my brother-in-law.
That's crazy.
But
I don't know what I was gonna say, but basically, it's one of those things where no matter what peak you get to, I feel like you always want more.
mhm,
I feel like if they would have said something like, okay, or they would have done something like win the SWAC championship, I'm pretty sure they would have wanted to win that first game of the tournament.
absolutely.
So like, it's always something it's an ever changing goal. I think once you reach a certain goal, it's like, all right, I want more. But ultimately, if I had to look at this season, I think that they played really well. They meshed so well. When I tell you this team was like, I'm not gonna lie to you, and this is not an over exaggeration, at least to me. It was like poetry in motion some days, where you would just watch the way that the team would play, and you just be like, man, this team is like on one accord. They're picking teams apart, and they're doing things where you can tell they trust each other. And I think that's ultimately what kept bringing me back to watching them. Obviously, I had to work it, but really looking at them and like breaking down the game a little bit more, you understand it a little bit more because you enjoy watching a team play so fluidly, play so together. And I think ultimately their record showed that. Their record was definitely, that sometimes records cannot be indicative of the way the team plays or the way of how good the team was. I think their record definitely showed exactly how good of a team they were.
Absolutely. So I think that leads us to our next topic of who's the most impressive player on this team. Jada Rose won SWAC Player of the Year. I think you look no farther than Jada Rose.
Oh yeah, I think that's easy.
Actually, I'm not saying that because that seems like I'm kind of discrediting everybody else because everybody had their own. Everybody pulled their own individual.
For sure, but I think when you get SWAC Player of the Year, I think that's definitely an easy one for you to say for sure.
Yeah.
Dominance. For me personally, I would say two of the transfers stood out to me. Jalen Witten and Taylor Gaines. I think they played integral parts into this team where you lost some players and you didn't necessarily miss steps the way that you could. I think they stepped in and filled in roles that they did it beautifully. I think that the way that they played and the intensity that they played with, the way that they made the plays, the big time plays when you needed them to, it made all the difference in the world. And for two transfers to come in and have that much of an impact on your program right away, I think that speaks volumes to not only their selflessness when it comes to playing and building and trying to integrate themselves into that team, but it also is kudos to the coaches as well for basically making them play their best play.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Unfortunately, like I said, there's a lot of great players on this team. Like at their individual spot, I think there could have been a couple players on this team that could have gotten SWAC Player of the Year or the most impressive for us. So, but it's a good problem to have for sure.
For those of y'all who saw my volleyball video, like it was one of those. Really, it was hard not to say every player on the team and every coach. Like that's how kind of a hands on deck this team was. It was a special team, and I'm sad that they didn't put it all together to be one of those teams on the
knowing Coach White is gonna be right back next year.
Oh yeah, no doubt in my mind that this team's definitely gonna be back.
Hopped off the plane in Montgomery, Birmingham, wherever they flew into, and was recruiting and right back on the ground.
Oh yeah, that's who Coach White is.
Speaking of Coach White, how can you win? I'm about to go on a little rant here.
You can, yeah.
How can you win 16, 17 games in a row, lose one game in the tournament of all things, right, Kendall?
Mm-hmm.
In the tournament where it's a one-hitter quitter.
Yep.
And not be awarded, the Coach of the Year. How is this possible? How is this possible? How is this possible? Does it make any sense to you, Kendall? Because it don't make sense to me. It's what's the saying? It's not giving what it should. Because we're talking about a team who lost 6 games in the conference. And just because they beat us, I don't know if this award was voted on based off of the tournament play. I don't think it was.
I think it's included in it.
But we were undefeated.
No, I'm saying like the tournament I think plays a part into it.
Okay.
And I think it's a little different because some sports I think, I don't know if it's the same in the SWAC. But some sports, you have your coach of the year for your regular season. That's where the confusion was for me, because they won the SWAC tournament. Okay, cool, I get that. But at the end of the day, like you said, we were by far the better team this entire season than they were. They had the same overall record as us. They were 17-12. When I look at Jackson State, they played very well. They played great volleyball, but at the same time,
she could be the second best coach.
Yeah,
she could be the third.
Like I don't know, man. It didn't. When I saw that come across my phone, like my jaw dropped, because I was so like, I felt like that should have been a lock, and it wasn't.
For sure, especially when you're talking about having the SWAC player of the younger team, and you know,
multiple all SWAC players as well. I do want to put respect on Jackson State's coach names. Her name is Rose Washington, and there's
just no shot at her.
Yeah, not at all.
And there's no bias from us either. I mean, maybe a little bit, but at the same time,
I was about to say, I definitely think it's some bias here, but
ultimately
that's the truth, though. Ultimately, I think, and we've seen that with certain SWAC, awards before.
Right.
We've seen it with us with football. We've seen it preseason, postseason, all of those type of things. We've seen certain ones that it's just like, that don't really sit right with me.
You know, it happened to Bubba last year. Y'all like that.
And in the preseason, like we said.
And again, it was to who that Bubba lost SWAC player to? The school, Jackson State.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that there's an agenda against us winning some jewelry. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm not gonna go on my Jackson State rant because I know where they can go from here, and I don't want any trolls anymore. I mean, y'all come.
But, yeah, I was about to say, especially after we. Oh man.
Especially after we. Yeah. But they got bragging rights at the moment.
Winning your trap, take over your trap type thing,
but they have bragging rights right now because they've won the most recent. You know, in as far as school sports that is beating us.
Okay, and what's your point?
You just talking about football generation.
I'm just talking about the grand scheme, grand scheme. But I mean,
we finished higher than y'all in football.
Facts.
We second in the East.
Facts.
I mean, we ain't FAMU, but we ain't going to SWAC championship. But you know, number 2 is no slouch.
Like I said, walk in your trap, take over your trap type.
And y'all can come here next year, and the word's gonna drop. I hope they schedule us for that. They schedule us for home, and I hope that Jacoby Morgan is starting quarterback, and I hope TC Taylor is a starting quarterback. I mean, a starting head coach. Oh, a starting head coach is crazy. Let me stop talking,
please. Hey, all I'm gonna say is,
kudos to Jackson State on the winning SWAC.
Yeah, kudos to y'all. Alabama State University volleyball team 2022-2023. Y'all. Great season.
Love y'all for sure.
Yeah.
You're gonna miss the seniors.
Sorry, y'all couldn't get it done. 2023 season. Sorry.
2023, 2023
season. Yeah. Great team. Couldn't get over the hump, but
they'll be back.
Yeah, they'll be back for sure. Great team.
They're gonna win it next year.
I love watching y'all play.
Coach White coming back from Vegas because she's standing on the shoulders of her who? Coach White is standing on the shoulders of her who?
Oh, say it one more time. Let us hear.
She's standing on the shoulders of her ancestors. She's standing on the shoulders of her people. She is the greatest.
Shaba. Turn me into the shot. Shout out about the Awesome.
It's Oshab.
I don't speak in tongues.
Okay, my bad. But yes, like I said, Coach White will be right back here next year, and we will be back. We're gonna be back, and we're gonna be okay. So,
hey man, we'll be there. Shout out to Ash for the merch. Volleyball team. We love y'all. Man. We love y'all.
Hey, that was good.
We love y'all.
All right, we'll see y'all next episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, donate to the Cash App, and see you next time.
See y'all. Much love. Be blessed.